Hello Earth, I'm Attila. Today I will talk about the Super Consumers book, and this was about this thing that super consumers take up most of the profits. They are usually 10% of the customers, and they drive 70 or 30 to 70% of the sales, and they take up even more percent of the profits. And if you employ this super consumer strategy, you will be able to have like a predictable inflow of customers. So this super consumer strategy is you should find, listen to, and engage with your most passionate customers. Learn about and satisfy their needs. So it is worth researching your super consumers, and you should understand them, and you can find them easily in three ways within your data. So they are usually very active on social media, and among your team, they might love your product to a degree that they are willing to join to your team and to your company, and among your friends and family. So you can ask them do you love this product, or do you know anyone who loves this product? Because you must understand them, because their insights are invaluable. And in order to understand them, you must know that people are very emotional. So they might love a product for a certain reason, but they are pretty logical as well. So emotional but logical. So these super consumers are passionate about and highly engaged with the product. And these more engaged customers spend appreciably more money on the category than do less engaged customers. So they are not necessarily the customers who use your product the most, because they might not love your product. The super consumers are the ones who love your product, and you should engage them, listen to their insight, and improve based on that. And their insights are invaluable, because you can test your new products on them, because they love your product and they use your product. They have valuable insight, and you can also spot trends very early compared to regular customers. And if you satisfy their needs, they will keep coming back, because they still love your product. And they are willing to lead others and tell their family and friends. So this is the word of mouth marketing, and it is becoming more powerful, because nowadays we have a lot of commercials, and we don't really trust in them. We don't really know what to do with them. But if one of your family members or friends recommend you a product, chances are that you will try it, because you trust in that family member. And especially in this era of the internet and social media, if you can convince a person with high following to recommend a product to their followers, that's very good, because their followers trust that person. So this word of mouth marketing is very powerful. And these super consumers are not price sensitive. They spend more on average, because if you love the product, you don't really care about the price, you just want to buy it. So it is worth investing in your super consumers. And what makes a super consumer a super consumer? And usually a live event changes them to love a product. So it used an example of a stay-at-home mom who used creative tasks at home because she was bored, and she grew to like scissors, because scissors helped her to be more creative. So companies should embrace passion. There are three ways a company might act. A company might want to create passion where passion where there is no passion, or they might want to ignore passion because they just care about making a profit. But none of these are good. They should embrace the existing passion. And you can also break rules to help your customers. So it used an example of Netflix. So Netflix, compared to all the other streaming platforms in the world, they release a season at once. So a whole season of a TV show at once, instead of like just releasing them week by week. And they solve the cliffhanger problem of the customers. So if you really love a show and you just watched an episode, but then you have to wait an entire week for the new episode, and until then you might like grow bored, or you might watch another TV show, because 1 week is a long time. So Netflix solved this problem by asking their super consumers inside the company. So inside the company, they also watched TV shows, and they loved binge watching. So when you watch a whole season, like in a very short amount of time, and so they release seasons at once to solve this binge watching, like not this, they solve this problem. And super consumer groups. So if a lot of super consumers are in one area, they can grow very powerful, and they can impact your sales a lot, because the power of super consumers grow exponentially if they are together, because they might invite their families or their friends, and they might grow super consumers as well. So because we are a herd animal, we love being with other people, and we love talking with other people about things that we love. So a brand might be this thing that we love, and we love talking about it. So when you are pricing a product, think like your customers. So when you are buying a product, you are typically comparing it to the second best product. And like you should do that also, and you should listen to your customers' need. What do they want to do, and what do they love buying? Being generous can be a great growth strategy. So it again used an example of Netflix. So Netflix, like many other companies, but they were one of the first to offer this 1 month for free trial strategy. And it is great because you can try out the product, but some investors were worried about that, like some people just want to watch, for example, the Crown series on Netflix. So during this 1 month, they might just watch the entire season, and then they unsubscribed. So they don't really bring any profits. But Netflix is, of course, this is a generous deal, but they are worried about the lifetime value of the customers. So they will still, the customers who unsubscribe will still love Netflix, and they might subscribe again in the future. So you should reduce the chore and increase the fun, and reduce the chore element by asking the customers, then improving on it. So it used the example of Disney parks. So Disney parks, there are these huge lines that you have to wait for multiple hours to get on a ride, and they asked their customers, and they saw that this is a huge pain. So like they solved it. I don't really remember like how, but they did solve it. So, and if you happen to be a business leader, you should get your company on board as well. Talk about this strategy, because like the whole effort of a company can like find these super consumers and engage with them. So that was it, but I found this strategy helpful because I might not be a business leader, but in investing it can be helpful as well, because I noticed that Tesla investors, when I researched Tesla, there are a lot of people who just love the product and they recommend it to everyone. And if there are a lot of these super consumers in a brand, then this word of mouth marketing will help spread the word, and chances are that this company will be very successful in the future. And on YouTube, I noticed this phenomenon as well, not in my audience because now it is pretty small, but we will grow in the future, don't worry. But Linus Tech Tips, they have like 10 million subscribers at least, just on one of their channels. And they said that 2% of their audience make the most money for them, because they just love the videos, and they might order merch. So yes, so this 2% of the audience will make the most money of them. So not even 10% as the book said, but just 2%. So this book was very interesting. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my podcast, please, if you are interested in stuff like this. So you can also reach me on Twitter if you would like to recommend me some books, or in the comment section as well. So thank you for coming in. Bye bye.